Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Monday.
Welcome back to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Excited to be here with you guys this morning.
Jules, we have a special guest, I see. Oh, he's leaving.
We had him for a minute. But he's in and out. Good morning to everybody. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and is ready to get a fantastic start to the week. I know that I am.
You know, what's interesting is that, so I was done at a great morning, packed morning on Friday. Then it was done at 12:30. And Jake said, hey, you want to go grab lunch? So we went and had lunch on the beach. And when you take the afternoon off on Friday, the weekend seems much longer. I mean, it's only a little bit of, a couple of hours, but I had a great weekend. The two of you guys were painting the town. Friday was a big day. I know, Mark, you did two events. I know Lori.
Well, I got to see Lori Friday afternoon at the 211 Broward event, and she did a great job presenting awards and representing really, really well. And that was just a fantastic event. Then Friday night, I was at the Mods event with Joe Cox, which was a blast. I had never been there for that. And then Saturday turned around and had another event at Hard Rock, which was the Big Smoke and Whiskey Fest, which shout out to Jimbo for the tickets to that, and got to spend some time with James because he was in town. We also started the morning at the beach that day, and then turned around on Sunday and had church and, hit one of our favorite coffee shops locally here on Prospect. So we were out and about the whole weekend, and this is what my post was about this morning. Most people come back from a vacation and they're like, oh, I need a vacation from the vacation. Because I was doing stuff that I really like to do with people that I like to do it with, I don't feel tired. Like, I'm ready to go for Monday. I'm ready to get after it. I was a little dinged up on Sunday. Turns out that I don't have the tolerance to whiskey that I once had. Plus 3 cigars will really do it to you.
Oh. God.
But you fight through it on Sunday and you get going, and just I don't know. I don't feel tired from being out the whole weekend. I feel ready to go.
So Lori, you've been involved obviously in 211's event because of your role at JA.
I created it. But I actually started it. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, because when we met, I actually agreed to do all of the services pro bono, and then you left.
Yeah. But before I left, I started the 211 Nonprofit Awards. And I did it for 3 years before I left. And I remember when I did the award, I told Sheila Smith, who was the CEO, and the board, I will only do it on one condition, and that is that we give money that we raise, part of what we raise, back to the nonprofits, right? Because it drives me crazy that we give out them awards, but we're raising money on their backs. And so anyway, so we did, and now to date, they've given about 300,000, raised over $1 million for 211. So it feels good to leave something that continues, right, to help sustain nonprofits and 211. So I always feel very proud of that.
I love that. So it's interesting because Mark obviously is on his rookie tour of going to these kind of events, and he was texting me going, Dad, man, everybody in the world is in this room. So it was packed. I know it was great. And then the mod event was probably the same for Mark. So
yeah, I mean, and just to shout out to the 211 event, the people that were recognized there. I mean, Bob Birdsong got the Lifetime Achievement Award. Andy Cagnetta got the Excellence Award. And then the Wonderful.com, which was the last award that was given, was the People's Choice Award, was a woman CEO that started this nonprofit because she had struggled with suicide. And her speech to end the entire day was a mic drop. I mean, she was so genuine. She was crying because she, thankful to receive the award. It was just awesome. And then, yeah, I mean, the Mods event was awesome. It was food, drink, great music, great people. Similar. You run into a ton of people.
I'm not going to ask you what's better, Mods or Uncork. So we won't do that.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. There's
no
Oh,
comparison.
I love you, Steve. I'm only
They're
kidding.
totally different events.
So speaking
And by the way,
of,
you have no pictures from me this weekend because once that event was over.
oh, that's not true. That's not true at all. We have pictures.
Oh, you
We
pulled
have
them off
pictures. Look
Facebook.
at you, man. So that's you on stage, which was great. You did a great job of documenting it. And then I wanted to switch gears because Saturday was National Sons Day, which obviously for me is a layup. It was so great to spend the day, or the morning picking out pictures and recognizing them. But your post was heartfelt. And, for all of us that are parents that have sons, it's just a beautiful thing.
That's true. I forgot I posted about that on Saturday. But other than that, my pictures would have just been my feet with the beach behind it, because that's what I did this weekend. I literally shut down, did a couple of posts, read my book, and just needed to disconnect a little bit. And I did.
Read the book because it's done?
Oh, well, I worked on my book on Thursday, all
got it.
day Thursday. But no,
Got
I'm
it.
actually reading a book. So.
I was about to say, teaser alert.
Before we get going, you spoke about Andy Cagnetta. I had the pleasure of having dinner with him last night, him and his wife. And I think they are just some of the nicest people on the planet. I really do. They're just shady.
We're honoring them at Hall of Fame.
I heard.
So I'm very excited.
So
Andy is the man to be honored right now.
He is being honored all over the place, and rightfully so. Let's wake this thing up. We have lots of fun coming our way. It is National Oreo Day, and having a conversation about Oreos is always fun. So, Shay, wake this thing up. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more about to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on. All right. This day, 107 years ago, the National Biscuit Company in New York City invented and created and launched the Oreo cookie.
And thank God they did, because then we would not have the greatest cookie of all time if we did not have the Oreo.
It is the most sold and presumably most eaten cookie in the U.S. and has spawned dozens of other flavors. And Shay, show me some of the flavors.
I mean, the double stuffed like original regular Oreo is like the best Oreo.
You gotta say.
And then they have like a confetti one every holiday. They have like red and green Christmas.
It's so funny. Amanda in Chicago, one of our friends and clients, we were talking, and I just said, she was getting. I said, "What do you do in the morning?" She goes, "Well, I got to get my daughter's lunch ready. What are you making her tomorrow? Peanut butter and jelly." I go post about peanut butter and jelly because I said, "How do you make it?" Oh, even parts peanut butter and jelly, and it's cut across, not diagonal. So a whole conversation. So you could have that whole conversation about Oreos. These are some of the new flavors: watermelon, limeade, green tea, key lime, waffle and syrup, pina colada, chicken wing. Just
unreal. I mean, like the key lime pie Oreo, the caramel apple Oreo, the Mississippi mud pie. To me, I'm a fundamentalist, right? Yeah. Like the original Oreo is the way to go, and
I agree.
Plenty of different ways that you can eat it, and whether you have it, whether you scrape one side, whether you remake the sandwich, there's all different kinds of ways to enjoy an Oreo. But if you do not enjoy an Oreo, you and I are not going to get along.
So
I'm with you, Mark.
If you got something against Oreos, we're just not going to be able to figure it out.
Here's the interesting thing. People are always looking for icebreakers, Mm-hmm. You can just walk up to anybody and go, Do you dunk?
Oh, wait.
right.
Steve, I don't know if you were on the board yet, but talk about icebreakers with Oreos, if anybody wants one. So you break up into teams. Everybody has a package of Oreos. You have to put one hand behind your back, each person, and you have to build the tallest Oreo. So together with one hand each, you have to open the Oreos, scrape out the white, the cream, put it on top, and keep stacking the white. And then, oh my God, John Ray pulled a knife out of his pocket. And we were like, no tools, right? It was hysterical. They were eating them. I mean, it was
I love it.
Hysterical. But it's nothing better also than a chocolate covered Oreo, plain Oreo, but
deep fried Oreo. I got introduced to a deep fried Oreo when I was like 23 years old, and it blew my brain. Just absolutely was like, oh, I didn't think this could get any better. And sure enough, you found a way to make an Oreo better.
Well, you can send it to people with the company logo on it. It's dipped and, and it has all that.
For sure.
This is what blew my mind. This is what absolutely blew my mind. There is something, the study of how to split Oreos is called Oreology.
Right.
Oreology. Here's how to split your Oreo cookie correctly according to scientists. Scientists took the time and they actually created a tool. Shay, show me the tool. This is unbelievable.
The Rio meter, which I love, but the Oreo meter is the thing that actually scientifically separates your Oreo perfectly. Because look, if you do it by hand, it's a high risk situation. Is the cookie going to break? You're going to lose half the icing on one side or the other. I love that Tim Rapoport talked about the white chocolate covered Oreo. Absolutely just ridiculous. The gluten-free Oreos do taste as good as the regular Oreos for those of you that have not had both kinds. So you don't really lose a whole lot if you go gluten-free, but they definitely do go stale faster.
So I will say this. If anybody calls me today and says, I don't know what to post in social media, I'm hanging the phone up. Done. Bye. See ya. This is a beauty. And just say
I saw the peanut butter and jelly post, and when I saw it, she had spawned the thought in my head of like, peanut butter and jelly was a big deal to me when I was broke and I was trying to figure out what to eat every day. I took a lot of pride in making my peanut butter and jelly and making sure that there was peanut butter to the edge of every piece of bread and jelly to the edge of every piece of bread. And, like, to me, that's the whole point. What gets people thinking, or what gets you to connect to somebody that starts the conversation? Oreos is another great tool to start a conversation.
Yeah. So, like Amanda, and I give her a lot of credit. She goes, I'm really going to post in a professional network. I'm really going to post something about peanut butter and jelly. I go, yes. And then she texts me later on the day. She goes, I'm totally impressed. She goes, I've had the most interaction I've had of anything. I said, this is the world we live in, that people want to know this mundane stuff. So anyway, I'm going to switch gears to a conversation that I remember this feeling years ago. It's what this feeling prompted my exit out of the phone business. But LinkedIn has a really cool, I guess it's a blog. It's called In the Loop. And I love it, man. It's a newsletter that always has 3 quick topics. One of the topics is called the Sunday Scaries. So I'm just going to read it so that, given the recent headlines around layoffs and it's no wonder Sunday Scaries, feelings of dread and anxiety before starting a new week, are looking different these days. Recent LinkedIn data found that 75% of working Americans now experience them. So I'll start with you, Mark. Sunday Scaries, yes, no? I think you already answered. You came into this week flying.
Yeah, no, I don't have the Sunday Scaries, but I do understand them. And I think that, you get Sunday Scaries for one of 2 reasons. One could be you just don't like what you do, right? Like you could be in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. And that's a big reason. The other thing is you have no plan. And so you get anxiety walking into the week because you're so focused on the things that you're responsible for or the things that you have to do. And you don't really have a plan on how you're going to get there. So you know that Monday is going to show up and you're trying to figure out how to show up and fake it, or just show up and throw up and find your way through it, instead of just taking the time to put together an action plan for yourself. Because when you have that action plan, there's no anxiety because you're not anticipating what might happen or how you're going to do anything. You know exactly what you're going to be doing.
Miss Lori, the question goes to you. Sunday scaries?
No, I think I could tell you I probably have gotten them a couple of times in my life, and it was for the reason that I was supposed to have something done and I didn't. And I was going into the day and was going to have to say I didn't have it done. And that was a long time ago, because you learn your lesson after a couple of times, right? I mean, sometimes there's a good reason, but other times it's just that you didn't get it done. So I think when you're not prepared, when you don't have a plan, all of those things, like what Mark said too, that's when you get the scaries, right? That's when you get anxious.
So I'm going to give you my view on why what happened to me legitimately, and why I love people who create boundaries. I inevitably, like on Sunday at 6 o'clock, would get a call from one of the people I worked with. You know, we had leadership meetings on Monday morning, which was fantastic, great. But for some people, it starts Sunday at 6 o'clock, and I thought that was inappropriate. It was like that gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like, can't we deal with this in the morning? I love, and I've coached some people through this, I love when Andrew Koenig sends something and says, do not respond. I'm just putting it out there so that we have a record of this. You know, so it's okay as a leader to spray, but you give people the expectation that it's a Sunday or whatever. We have boundaries. You don't have to respond. That was not the case for me. And it just used to freak me out. It's like, shit, I don't want to deal with this on 6 o'clock on Sunday because it took my weekend away. So, you know, this thing about Sunday scaries is real. The question I want to ask both of you guys, which I think is, you know, very significant, is there are people in our troops that are experiencing it. How do you know, do you see the signs, and what do you do to deal with it?
I'll take it first.
The crowd.
No, I didn't. Normally Lori if she has it, she goes for it, and I was going to let her go. But I think, number one, you recognize it the way you recognize anything, which is by paying attention to what they're doing and asking questions, right? Like, I can tell whether or not you're on your shit and you know what you're working on and you have an action plan, or I know whether or not you're just kind of winging it. I mean, it happens to me in my coaching calls. Like, I give people homework. I give people shit that they're supposed to be working on so that we can come in the next week and assess the progress that was made.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't coach with you and I coach with Steve, because he.
And I know when they're like, they're, kind of, dodging the elephant in the room, which is the fact that they didn't do anything to make progress on that thing. So I think by asking the questions and being actively invested in what they're working on to figure out how well they're preparing themselves, because Joanne said, not feeling prepared equals the scaries. Right. So like, I can help you solve some of those Sunday scaries by helping you feel prepared as you work through whatever it is that you're working on. The other thing is just noticing people that aren't engaged, right? Like, if people aren't engaged with their work, if they're not bought in, if they don't have some opinions and aren't invested in bringing solutions and ideas and problems to the table, they're not engaged with the business, and they're probably feeling the scaries because they're not in a place they want to be in.
Yeah.
Lori, do you have an answer, or can I jump in?
I was just going to add to what Mark said. We do regular one-on-ones with everyone. So we stay connected constantly. If there's something going on, it's not just a one-on-one to talk about, are you on schedule with your tasks? Right. It's our values. How are you doing? Right. Recognizing something they did well when it comes to our values, letting them know where they might be struggling and helping them through it. So you can't wait, right, until it gets so bad. You've got to be in constant communication with your people, I think.
So very interesting. The daily huddle started way back in my business days, because I would put everybody in a room Monday morning and I'd be able to see whose temperature was off. You just noticed it. You just looking around. Now, a little bit more difficult, or maybe if you do something, that is video based and you can tell people's response. But the purpose for the huddle was to get rid of those cobwebs from the weekend. it was our way of getting together and lifting people up to say, whatever happened, we got a new day. Let's focus on the day ahead. What are the priorities? Somebody tell a joke, somebody play some music, somebody do all that kind of stuff. And we did it daily, which was crazy. I just got a call from somebody that I worked with. He worked for me for years, and now he's the president of his own brick paver company doing amazing things. And he was like, dude, it all started with you at that everyday meeting that kept people online. So whether it's the Sunday scaries or an every night scary, no matter what the reason is for somebody going through what they're going through. And the point of this article with LinkedIn was that they just did a deal, and who's ever doing their strategic stuff is fantastic. They did a deal with Vidyard. They did a deal with Calendly. Now they did a deal with Headspace, and they're giving you free time to work with this organization. There's all kinds of, motivational and meditational practices.
Right. And that to me is like, when we talk about Sunday scaries, if somebody isn't happy, the standard can't be, well, you can't bring that unhappiness into the workplace.
That's exactly right.
It's got to be, well, let me recognize it and then figure out how I can help you navigate it. And that to me is like, the mental health discussion. A lot of people will move towards a space where, well, we live in a positive environment and we're going to be high energy and that's who we are. So if you're not that, then you can't bring anything else here. It's not reality that everybody's at 100 all the time feeling great. A healthy work environment is being open to recognizing that somebody's off and not reprimanding that person, but bringing them in and putting them under your wing for a second to say, hey, what's going on? What's happening? As Marvin Gaye would say, what's going on?
Yeah, and I think that's
song for today, a motivational mode, right?
That's the responsibility of the leader. Figure out why they're having the scaries. Is it scaries or is it unhappiness? Is it, what's going on? So
right.
And I think, Lori, from the work that you and I are doing together, you are very plugged in to that. I think, when we talk about great leadership, self-awareness and situational awareness go hand in hand. If you're blind to what's happening with your people, it's going to blow up in your face always, So, to Mark's point, having a culture that allows people to say, I don't know what the fuck's wrong.
I'm off. I can't find it. I can't get it. And that's how you know that you're a good leader, or that's how you know you have a good culture, when somebody is willing to say that in the group.
That's just off, dude. I don't know what they're
and they're willing to have that conversation with you. If they're not willing to have that conversation with you, you don't have a quality relationship.
So I want to leave you with a piece of motivation.
We're not going to get to the best topic of the day.
We will.
Oh,
you know what? I'll save that for you for next week.
Save it for next Monday.
I will save it for next Monday. Next Monday, we will talk about, can 5 generations exist in the same place? But for anybody that is not feeling it this morning, I want to show you what I call a young lady who is not a young lady, getting after it. This is the way we'll close today, and then we'll go right into let's get down to business. Bam, show me. So I can stay walking like Luca. Nigga, watch me get open like a zipper, jacket like the ripper. A lady's 90 years old and she's doing leg lifts. Man.
I love it. Weighted leg lifts.
Weighted leg lifts, man.
My hero.
Right.
Motivation for your Monday.
If you're sitting in your chair wallowing in your own bullshit, look at what other people are doing, because that's inspiring. If she can do it, there isn't anybody that's joining me this morning that can't. So get out, walk, run, do whatever you can, move that body around, stir it up, because now it's time to get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down